Okay, now we're going to get into the Mesobotanica nano-needling treatment. Okay, this is an awesome pen that SESHA actually sells, and it's nice because you have total control of the speed of your pen, and there's actually a button right here, and you're controlling how fast or how slow you want to go. The nano needles come in a package like this, and these are not used for microneedling. Okay, these are silicone tips sold by SESHA, and we also do sell the microneedling tips that you can use with this same pen. Okay, what I want you to note here with the pen is with the nano needles itself, there's a little horizontal tip at the end which actually fits directly into the opening of the pen. The other end of the pen is where you're going to charge your device, and you can actually, charge for a couple hours before you begin your day, and then it's going to take you through several treatments throughout the day. Another thing with this pen is up at the top, you actually can change depths. So whether you're, using it for the Mesobotanica nano-needling treatment or for the microneedling treatment, you again have total control just by turning the tip. Okay, so that's basically the components of what you'll have with this device. And what I like to do is, you're going to engage the tip into the end of the pen and then give it a little tug just to be sure that after you've matched those horizontal pieces, give it a tug to be sure that it's on there tightly. Okay, now the first step in the Mesobotanica system is actually our pre-treatment detox solution. And what you're going to do, and I'm going to demonstrate this, but you're just dropping a couple drops all over the skin, working the detox solution into the skin using the nano needle. Okay, now very importantly, when you're dropping things onto the skin, and you don't need a lot, generally 2 or 3 little drops, and you're just going to work this. You're not massaging it into the skin, okay? You're just literally spreading it over the skin. And be careful when you're using the dropper. You don't want to touch the end of the dropper to your client's skin, okay? So I'm gonna work the forehead first, and I have my pen set at 0.75. And you can go in horizontal patterns followed by vertical patterns. You can even stamp in the area. And I'm working in almost inch square sections, okay? Working across the entire forehead. And again, I always like to do a check-in with my client. How is this feeling for you?
Yeah, it's really good.
It's good. I think our client almost fell asleep. Hey, no problem. No problem. So relaxed.
And it's so gentle.
It's feeling gentle, he said. Working that detox into the skin. And this is preparing, actually, the skin surface for each of the other steps of the Mesobotanica system. Okay, so that's what we're doing with this one, is actually preparing the skin. And then you're going to work down I like to work down the right cheek. You're going to go across the chin, the upper lip, over to the left cheek, and you're also going to do the nose, okay? You're going to see that I'm staying above the skin, right? So I'm just dropping that on the skin, not touching the tip of the dropper to the skin, and just spreading that, not massaging it into the skin, just spreading it over the skin. And you can, when you're using the pen on the cheek area, depending on the client's particular cheeks, you can either use like a 1, you can use a 1.5, really gauge it depending upon what you're noticing. And you can bring this up under the eye area as well. Again, this is the pre-treatment detox, and I'm sort of working around any areas of his acne that appears to be open, just working around it. And I do tend to turn my pen on and off as I'm just, dropping the solution onto the skin. And I don't like to drop the solution onto the skin really before I start working on that particular area. I like to drop it and then work it into the skin. Horizontal passes. If you're noticing, let's say that your client has some fine lines around the mouth area, you can always just pull the skin taut. I'm just pretending here because our young client does not have those fine lines. But if your client did, you would pull the skin taut and then again, work the solution into the skin. Okay. Again, working around what appears to be some open acne areas. Horizontal pass, vertical pass, working again in small sections. And these nano-needle, the silicone tips, are disposable. So you use it for one client and then dispose of them. Okay, now we're gonna do a little bit of the pre-treatment detox on our client's nose. And when you're working on the nose, and again, you can reset to either 0.5 or 0.75. I always tell my clients that sometimes it can be a little sneezy as we're working on the nose. And a lot of times I like to work in circles on the nose because I'm getting some really good coverage into all of the areas of the nose. Really helps to decrease pore size as well, especially if you're seeing a lot of pores on your client's nose. And again, working around the bottom of the nose. So either go in circles or you can just follow the lines of the nose as you're working. Okay, so that was our first step. This is actually a 4-step system. So pre-treatment detox, again, is really to prepare your skin to get it ready for each of the next steps of the nano-needling system. So why the pre-treatment detox? It's actually antimicrobial, antibacterial, really helps to kill any of those bacteria that you're noticing or that could be present on the client's skin, so that you're then preparing the skin for the next steps. So really, pre-treatment detox, step number 1, antimicrobial, antibacterial, kill those organisms on the skin, prepare the skin for the next steps. So step 2, you actually have a choice of either the brightening solution, and there's also an exfoliating solution, depending on what your client needs. And it doesn't mean that whatever you choose to use, that you have to use it for the entire face. No. So because you know that as you are touching your client's skin, or they're saying what they're noticing with the skin, there may be some areas that you want to brighten, and there's also some areas perhaps that you want to exfoliate. So if somebody's saying they're a little dry here, or they have more mature skin and you need to give them some exfoliation, you can use that on those areas. Target the areas. Again, make this a very client-specific treatment. Okay, so today for our client, I'm going to use the brightening solution, and I'm going to come on just like I did with the pre-treatment detox. So again, this is step 2 of our 4-step system. Couple drops, work it in with the pen, move on to the next area, work again in smaller sections. So we'll use our brightening right now, and I'm just gonna put a couple drops here. You can see a little bit of a yellow tinge to that brightening. But what the brightening helps to do is really calm any redness that you may be noticing, so that you don't get any type of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation as a result of what could be going on with your client's skin as a result of the redness. So very, very important. And again, we're going to do the same type of very small sections, passes horizontally, vertically. If you're seeing any lines on your client's forehead, pull the skin taut and work that solution nicely into the skin. And I'm just going around any areas that appear to be some open acne outbreaks. And after you do your horizontal, vertical, again, you could stamp if you'd like to. Okay, looks great. Skin looks nice and smooth. We'll continue working down the right cheek. Just a couple drops, smooth over the skin, not massaging it in. We're just smoothing it over the skin. And I'm going to, I had my pen set to 0.75 for his forehead, and I'm going to reset to 1.5 as I'm working over his cheeks. And our skin here is getting we're getting a nice response, not seeing a lot of redness as a result of the brightening solution, just nice calm to the skin. Okay, and we'll continue on with the chin. Drop here. I'm going to give a drop up on his upper lip. And you'll know the more that you're using this pen, you're going to get a feel with the pen itself regarding how many drops that you actually need on the skin. As you can see, it's gliding nicely over the skin. I'm not hearing that it sounds like my pen is getting clogged at all, and that means that the amount of drops that we're using on this particular client is a perfect amount for him. Again, if your client has those marionette lines, pull the skin taut and really work the solution into the skin. Excellent. We're getting some nice brightening, as you can see, as you're looking at our client's skin. I really think you're going to be thrilled with the result today of this great Mesobotanica nano-needling treatment. And you can actually, you know, questions that we get oftentimes, how do you sell these types of packages? And this is a great treatment if you have someone who's also preparing to go to an event. And you can bring them in. You can do this treatment every 2 weeks. You can have them buy 4 treatments, get one free. So they get 5 treatments basically over a 10-week course of time, preparing them for perhaps a class reunion, a wedding, maybe they're getting married, maybe they're a member of the bridal party, maybe they, you know, as you can see, this is a great treatment for the gentleman as well. So you can get the groom ready for the wedding. There's a lot that, you know, we're coming upon a great season here with events and weddings and things, and great treatment that you can really recommend to your clients. Now we're going to go back to working that over the nose. Spread the brightening solution over the nose. I'm going to dial my pen down, back down to either 0.5 or 0.75, working in circles, working around the different the sides of the nose, under the nose. Not quite sure if you can see, but we are really noticing a great improvement in the pores on the nose with this treatment. Okay, again, like I said, with this particular step number 2, we've done our pre-treatment detox. I was doing brightening with this client. Let's say that perhaps when I was looking and assessing into the client's skin in the beginning of the treatment that I noticed some dryness, I would then use the exfoliate solution on, you know, perhaps the chin, on the cheeks, wherever you're noticing dryness. You're doing it as complete treatment for your client. So why would you choose the exfoliate solution? Again, maybe some dryness, but really what's in this? So there's 5 different acids that are actually in this particular solution. SESHA combines numerous things that are really healthy for the skin. So this isn't gonna, don't think about this like a peel, like a chemical peel. I don't want you to think of it in terms of that. I want you to think of it in terms of more of a peel with the glycolic acid, the malic acid, the azelaic acid that's in this, that actually over time is gonna help to really pull those dead cells off of the skin, to improve your skin turnover so that, you know, you're getting those healthy living cells up to the top of the skin surface as you pull away all of those other dead cells with this. So over time, you're going to see continued improvement, not just the first day of the treatment, but over time as those different acids really get to working on the skin for those dry areas, pull those dead cells off. It looks so good. He doesn't need, I mean, I did some brightening on there, you know, and this is just, it's dry. It's just from the brightening. Okay, step 3. Let's do a quick refresher. Step 1 was our pre-treatment detox. Step 2, you have a choice of either the brightening or the exfoliate solution. And now we're moving on to step 3, the vitamin complex. Now this is really great because this has several vitamins in it. A, C, E, also has botanicals that really help to soothe the skin, nourish the skin, because you know, at SESHA, what we're really about is nourishing the skin, making your skin as healthy as it can possibly be. So the vitamin complex, step 3, you're gonna put all over the skin as well, okay? So you're gonna start, like I always like to start up at the forehead, work my way down. Again, we're going to continue to adjust our pen. Now this vitamin complex comes on more with a darker hue to it, enriching the skin, giving those awesome botanicals, and again, working in the small sections. Horizontal pass, vertical pass, working that solution deeply into the skin. Client's skin is looking great. We'll work down the right side. Vitamin complex, vitamins A, C, E. So nourishing for the skin. And I was set at 0.75 for the forehead. I'll keep it at 0.75 as I'm going to work down the side of the temple and under the eye a bit. And then I'm going to actually reset to 1.5 as I'm working over the cheek. Again, pay attention to the sound of your pen because it really does help to dictate the amount of solution. You know, not only are you watching how the solution is going into the client's skin, but you're also listening to the sound of the pen as our pen is not getting clogged with excess solution. And that's a really important concept when you're thinking about consumables for your treatment room. And I think, you know, in terms of what you're seeing here is really a little goes a long way. And I like the vibration of this pen. It feels good in my hand. My hand and my wrist are not getting tired. You know, sometimes there's a lot of vibration to various pens that could be out on the market, but the SESHA pen just feels so nice in your hand that you're not getting any type of fatigue in your hand. And when you're a clinician who's working day in and day out with several clients in one day, that's important to keep in mind. Looking good, looking good. We're continuing along with our vitamin complex. A couple of drops, again, not dropping too close to the skin surface as you do not want to contaminate your bottle from touching someone's skin with it. As we're continuing on, just working again in small sections. And as I'm coming back up to the left temple, I'm going to reset my pen back to 0.75, working under the eye and the temple. And we're going to bring this vitamin complex on the nose as well. One drop will take us over the entire nose. And again, 0.05 or 0.75, working in circles. I am just very, very happy with the way our client's nose is responding to our treatment today. You know, so often our clients come in and they're like, oh, these pores on my nose, that's what I see. I need to try to shrink those pores. Great response today. Okay. Step 3, that was step 3 of our Mesobotanica nano-needling system. So what is it about SESHA that I absolutely love? SESHA is known for the permeation enhancement technology. What does that mean? It's actually helping to penetrate these different serums through the stratum corneum so that you're getting better response. And you can actually, when we've looked at cross sections of skin in the studies that we have been doing with our products, we're actually seeing that permeation enhancement technology bringing those serums deeper into the skin, which is so great. Now today, again, we're talking about the Mesobotanica. You know, when SESHA looked at developing this additional treatment to the wide array of treatments that they've already offered, they wanted to give clinicians the ability to bring to their clients an even better treatment with this permeation enhancement technology. We are looking at 30 years of science-based skincare, right? 30 years. Let's think about that. This isn't just something that, you're seeing as a fad on the internet right now, and we know that we're seeing this. No, SESHA's been around for a really long time and has the science to back it. So the Mesobotanica, we did step 1 as a detox. We did step 2 as brightening or the exfoliate serum. We did step 3 as the vitamin complex. Now, step 4, again, we've talked a lot about individualizing these treatments to our clients' needs. You have a number of different serums that you can use for step 4, okay? And I'm going to go through those quickly just so you have an idea. And who would you choose to use these different serums for step 4? Sometimes you're looking at your client and you see that they have a little bit of rosacea, redness, inflammation, perhaps on the cheeks, on the chin. What you can use then is our sensitive, which is actually a reparative booster for sensitive skin, really helps to bring that redness down, calm the skin. So you can use this as an individualized treatment just on areas of the skin where they need it. The next thing that you can choose is the Phyto Sun Repair. So if your client has a lot of sun damage, and perhaps, sometimes we'll see some sun damage on the forehead, and maybe you use the sensitive on the cheeks, but you want to use the Phyto Sun on the forehead. That's great. Individualize it, okay? Then we also have a copper peptide booster. So if your skin, you're noticing that your client's skin maybe is a little looser, and you want to infuse some of those copper peptides more deeply into the skin to help tighten the skin, that's a good one for those particular areas of the skin. There's also an EGF. It is a growth factor repair for mature skin. And, again, gauge it on what you're seeing with your client. Different serums for different areas. Then, SESHA 2. Great. Here is our PDRN, and it is our PDRN booster, which is actually coming from salmon, okay? But the difference with SESHA, in addition to the permeation enhancement technology, deeper into the skin, right through that stratum corneum, this is also the purest form that you can get of this particular salmon RNA, so that it can go into the skin and really give your skin the healing properties that it needs, calm it, anti-inflammatory, do some really wonderful things to your skin. I also like to use PDRN post more intense treatments. It really, really helps to calm that skin down. So today, with our acneic client and a little bit of inflammation, I'm actually going to use the PDRN booster as the serum for step 4 of this nano-needling system today. As I was showing you these different sizes of the bottles, I want you to note that when you get your pen and the serums that come with the pen, the serums come with the purchase of the pen, you're getting one each of these different serums that we talked about for the 4 steps. 4th step, you're going to get each of the serums in this small size. However, moving forward, when you need to order more serum, you can actually order it in the larger size, and then you can fill the small bottles using your larger, the serums in the larger size. Okay, so that is also very economical when you're looking at your purchases for your consumables for using these treatments. Okay. So as I said, we're going to use, I'm going to do some PDRN, and here you're going to be really spot treating what you're seeing, okay? So I'm going to use some PDRN right here where I'm noticing a little bit of redness, inflammation, just putting 1 drop. Again, this is the purest form of what we can get of our salmon DNA. All right, we're gonna go back to our 1.5, and I'm not sure if you can notice this on video, but I'm already seeing a decrease in the redness just from placing that PDRN on my client's skin. And I'm working this, some horizontal passes, some vertical passes. Excellent. Spot treatment, excellent. Do that across the upper lip. Okay. I'm also going to use some PDRN on his chin, pulling that through.
How about here?
And then I'm gonna do copper. Okay, we're working the PDRN booster over his chin, some horizontal and some vertical passes. Great, looks great. Now I'm also going to pull some PDRN over onto the right cheek, also onto the left cheek. Make sure we're set here, 1.5. Spot treating based on what you're seeing as you're working with your client's skin. Excellent. And we'll come over to this side, same thing, horizontal passes, followed by some verticals, really working that booster into the skin. And then I'm going to use some of our copper peptide on his forehead, just really showing you that, you know, we're doing different serums all in one treatment. And as you'll see, the copper peptide actually comes on with a little bit of a blue hue. I love the copper as well for acneic skin. I'm going to reset back to 0.75, work this into the skin. So for years, SESHA has really focused on nourishing the skin with the inclusion of the botanicals and the peptides into their products. We have the science that backs what we do at SESHA with excellent products, and the science that really demonstrates the improvement in the skin as a result of the combination of great ingredients in our products. Okay, and I'm going to bring some more of that copper solution right on the jawline here, and I'll show you how you can actually work that onto that area as well. Just putting a couple of drops and pulling that down over the jawline. And for that, I'm actually going to set at a 1.0 as I'm working in this area. And you can see, you can take your pen, small sections, horizontally, and then also working vertically over the curvature of the jaw. And it glides so nicely. And we'll come over on this side as well. Same thing, working in small sections. And we're going to continue to work this copper peptide glide into his skin. So this treatment, you know, you can see it's, you know, this is a solid hour treatment. And price point, to give you an idea of pricing, you know, you can charge, obviously it's dependent on where you live, but $250 for one treatment. You can do it as a package, buy 4, get 1 free if you'd like, if you're going to do some specials. And then if you want to add the neck, or your client is interested in maybe some anti-aging on the neck, you can, you know, change the price dependent upon if you're adding on the neck treatment. And you can actually, you know, you want to definitely use the detox and, you know, as the step 1 to prepare the skin. And then you can use your exfoliating or brightening, your vitamin complex, and then perhaps if your client has mature skin, you can use your EGF specifically on the neck. And just as an example, if you're working on the neck, you know, you want to pull the skin taut, and you want to work in any fine lines that you're seeing on the neck, you know, and you're doing the same type of horizontal, vertical movement on those areas. You can work the entire neck, you can work the creases in the neck, again, dependent upon what you're seeing with your client. So, great treatment, Mesobotanica, nano-needling treatment offered by SESHA. So SESHA has a number of different masks that you can use for your treatments, and following the Mesobotanica, I like to use specifically the calming mask. And we're going to demonstrate the calming mask. I actually keep these in the refrigerator, And when this mask comes on, I always say to my client, it's like coming on like a jellyfish. And it has such an amazing feel to it. So we're going to demonstrate that. But there's also a number of other masks that you can get from SESHA. There's a botanical hydro mask. We have a revitalizing dermal mask. We have also a neck and neck recovery mask, which is really good if you're noticing that you need some extra love to the neck and décolleté region. And there's also a brightening mask if you really are seeing that perhaps your client has some hyperpigmentation areas and you need to give some brightening to the skin. So just keep that in mind. But today specifically, like I said, we're going to demonstrate the calming mask. Comes on nice and cool for your clients, feels amazing. Okay, so when it comes out of the package, basically you get an idea. That's where I say it looks like a jellyfish. Amazing feel to this mask. And there we go. This is what it looks like coming out of the package. How cool is that? Love it. Little cool coming on here. And look how wonderfully this just goes on our client's skin. And I always pull the piece over the nose just back a little bit, and there's, you could see when I pulled it out of the package, you know, you have your areas for your eyes, and then you can just pull it taut over the skin. Okay, and then we're going to leave this mask on for about 10 or 15 minutes, and great relaxation for your client. Perhaps you want to do a hand massage while you have that on, there will be some extra serum in the bottom of this mask packet that you can then also put on top. Either you can put it on your client's neck, or you can use it in addition when you pull the mask off as some more serum for the face. But you'll see here, and I'm going to add some just to his neck. And you can see we're getting a lot of extra serum from this packet, from the calming mask. And today what I'm actually going to do is do a little bit of a hand massage while my client is resting with his calming mask on his skin. And then you can also get the rich botanicals from the calming mask onto the hands as well. Not to mention what it's doing for your hands as you're doing your hand massage of your client.
Sam's in the zone.
In the zone. We're in the zone.
The Sam's special.
That's right.
Feeling it way.
How's that?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Feeling like a man.
Yeah, there we go. And you can see as we're looking at our client, you know, as the mask is on, this is a transparent mask. We can see right through to the client's skin, and we can really tell if that redness is calming down with this particular mask. So you can see exactly what's going on. It's very different than many masks where, you know, it's an opaque mask, the mask is on, you can't see really what's going on with the client's skin. But here, we know exactly what's going on. So, awesome mask, SESHA Skin Therapy.
All right, cool.
Now we're ready to remove our calming mask. It's been on our client's skin for 15 minutes, and you can see that he has just a really nice glow. Look at that. Look how beautiful his skin is looking. And that's really the mission behind SESHA Skin Therapy, because healthier skin really helps to have a beautiful glow to it, right? And that's exactly what we're seeing here. So we'll do a little bit of a massage of the residual serum from the calming mask, really to work that into his skin. And when you're finished with that, what you can do is, you know, and always encourage your clients to use the sunscreen. And we do have wonderful sunscreen with SESHA. For home care following this treatment, they can actually use a hydro-soothing serum. They can use our DNA R&R serum, or you may remember that step 4, we used a PDRN booster, but we also have a PDRN serum that your clients can use at home for their regular regimen. So that could be for the day of the treatment. They can continue on if they're having any skin-related issues, or the next day they can go on and use their regular SESHA regimen that they're using for their daily skincare. And my client today is not going to be outside. I'm not putting any sunscreen on him particularly because I want all of those great serums that we just infused in his skin to be on his skin for the rest of the day. If I were to put sunscreen on now, then he would have to wash his skin this evening before he goes to bed. But because I'm not putting the sunscreen on, I'm just going to encourage him to leave all these wonderful products on for the rest of the day. Thank you so much. I hope this was an educational series for you today that you really were able to get a lot out of. If you have any questions, always reach out to us and we will get your questions answered. Stay tuned because we have a lot of educational series that will be coming forward with our different products, using our different masks, and I think you're going to love what we have to share with you. Have a great day. Thanks so much.